Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again back to the workshop. This is part 3 of the lathe copy attachment series of videos, and in this one I shall be continuing with the manufacture of the slide, specifically making the dovetail. I hope you enjoy it. Over at the mill then, we've got the roughing end mill set up on the centre of the piece, and I need to mill out the whole of this section here with vertical sides, and then I'll come in with the dovetail cutter at a later stage. I'm going first with a 3mm deep depth of cut, and God only knows what the RPM are. I don't have a tachometer on the mill, but what looks and sounds right. And I shall be using the power feed. So here we go. That seemed about the right speed last time I did it. Let's see how we get on. That came as a bit of a surprise. So to go a bit more slowly towards the end of the cut, but there we go. I'll raise the table by another 3mm after I switch the DRO on, which I forgot to do earlier. However, there we are, that's 3. And hopefully I can do this without knocking the camera tripod. 5. So, smidgen over 6mm. I'll just lock that off. Reverse the table feed. And speed it up just a gnats. And go back the other way. In effect cutting a slot, so it's not conventional or fine milling, it's both. Well, there we are. I think you've probably seen enough of that, and I'll carry on off camera, and when it's finished or near finished I'll bring you back. I thought I'd just bring you back halfway through. I've done, well, you saw the single first pass through. I've then gone conventionally milling down that way and back this way, and I've gone about 4.5mm off the centre line in both directions, and ended up with a couple of lands here, so I can get a decent one-handed reading on there. 20.58 and 20.50 on that one, which is not bad, I suppose. I'll go back and take another 4.5 mm off each side, and we'll be getting fairly close then to the last run. I'm going to leave quite a bit on it, well, I say quite a bit, about 1 mil perhaps, so that I can have plenty of meat left in case there's any errors in my drawings and what have you. There we go, that's halfway through. Some while later, a couple of days in fact, back out at the mill, I've opened up the basic width of the dovetail with the roughing cutter. I've now installed the dovetail cutter itself, touched off the underside of the cutter against the what is now at the moment the top face here, and moved it over, so I'm about to take about, I don't know, 2.5 mm depth of cut in here. We'll see how it goes. I've left about 1 mm on the width of these lands, so that as I drive the dovetail cutter in and form the angled cut, I'll have some leeway. And I'm going to measure that with a couple of pins. That will focus okay. I've doubled up on the drawing so that I can measure the inside distance between the two dowels, and from the outside of the slide to the inside of the dowel as a double check. I've doubled up on the base as well, just to give me some extra dimensions. Now ideally I'd use some what are they called, dowel pins. I don't have any dowel pins or what have you, so I've got some 8mm silver steel which I've faced to length. They will lie in on the dovetail, and I'll come in with the either my inside micrometer or a vernier, measure the distance between the two, or obviously from one side or t'other. I'm going to do this face first, that is the furthest inboard if you like. So I'm just going to take one run with the dovetail cutter and then finish it off camera. I have to wait for the VFD to run up because I switched it up because of the fan noise. But there we go, here we are. Whilst that's coming up to speed, I'll have a bit of a tidy up. Check everything is switched on. Table direction is selected. And right, well, off we go. The dovetail cutter, a long time since I've cut any dovetails, and I don't think it likes to run at a very high speed. So I reckon that will be about right. And I'll start it off now. first cut. And contrary to common expression, not the deepest. And well, yeah, two more like that I think probably will get us a full slope. So I'll run it back to the beginning, take another couple of cuts and bring it back and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, that's the first dovetail, I hope, completed. I'm just about to measure it with the well, loosely called a dowel pin, I suppose. So it should be 20.62 according to the drawing. And that is, I don't know whether you're going to be able to read this. I won't read it. I'll look over the top of the camera. 20.765. I think that's just about legible on the screen. What did I say? 20.75. 20.76, or half a division. 765, 20.765, and it's supposed to be 20.62, so it's 0.1. I think I'll leave it like that. 0.1 I can adjust on the base rather than go too far and muck it up completely. So yeah, quite pleased about that. Just have a quick nip down the other end. Oops, I'll just kick the camera, probably clumsy bugger. Little tight side. Well, that one comes out at, oh, come on, focus. .65, so very slight taper, and that's G-string wide, but I'm happy with that. Right, on to the next one. Much the same again. I won't bore you with all that, but I'll come back when it's all done and I'll check the distance between two dowel pins and we'll see how we get on. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the second dovetail having been cut, and I've now put my non-precision 8mm diameter dowels in place, and I'm about to measure both this distance between the dowels, so I can get it into focus, which should be 16.45, and these two figures here, 20.62 and 22.93. Actually the other way round, because this drawing is upside down to the stock placement. However, there we go. Let's try the first one. And that is, can we see? Ooh, I'll do it without knocking the camera. 21, 22.91, 22.91, and that should be 22.93, so that's not bad. And the next one should be 20.62 across here. Out the way. And no, my old eyes won't cope with that. 20.75. So with 0.1 out there. However, I seem to recall that when I cut this dovetail, it was left a little oversized, so that's not so bad. Now let's try the in-between figures. Also switch it on. 0. Not the most accurate, but easier to read on the screen. 16.31. So that's about 0.1 undersize. Well, that explains. Is explained by that being about 0.1. I'm not going to bother trying to shave off 0.1 of a millimetre off that dovetail. I will do the adjustments when I cut the other part to fit. I'm glad to say the brass material for the jib has now arrived. That will go in, that side. I'm now going to tidy this up with a chamfer along this edge and this edge. Take a small relief out of the centre here, just to so that it doesn't rub all the way along. And that should just about finish the dovetail. So there we are. I'll show you a picture of the finished article when it's done, all those bits have been done. Oh, one other thing is I've got to drill a hole for the tool post to go in there as well, and a recess countable. Like I say, come back when that's all finished. As promised then, back on the bench, and the machining of the slide is all complete, and the dovetail, as you see, has been cut out. I've gone over it with the surface grinder just to clean it up a bit. The cutout for the tool post bolt is there, shaped end, and I've put in the holes and drilled and tapped for the gib adjusting screws. The brass for the gib has arrived, and I shall be using the Harold Hall method of grinding the tops of the angles on the jib, I should say, putting it up on that side, putting in a spacer, and then screwing the adjusting screws in to clamp the gib, whatever you call it, to the slide, and then running the mill along the top. When that's done, flip it over, put a I think probably 2mm diameter silver steel rod on there, clamp that on top again and mill the flat on to size, after which you cut to length, or cut to length first if that's your preferred method. And also I've put in the stylus. I think you can see that alright. It's a ball which is, I think, 1 or 1.5 millimeters diameter. I got a selection of 3 from eBay. They vary in size from almost nothing at all. That one, I don't think you can probably see the diameter of that. I get it up even closer. Yes, there we are. I think that's 0.5 mil diameter. I think that one's 1 mil. And the one I've chosen for the slide is, I believe, 1.5 millimeters diameter. And these were originally marketed for modelling clay, would you believe? Well, just remains to be seen how well or not it works in practice. So there we are. Next up is the base, which we've seen before, carved out of MDF, and that fits in there, or will do when it's made up with a dovetail, and that is hiding inside that. So that's the next bit of the construction. Oh, and that is for the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and if you have been, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.